Welcome you all on the platform of VedaYouOnline.com, and today we are on the seventh day of Navratri, and here is with new Durga, Dr. Surekha Sagre ma'am. Okay, so welcome you all, and as well as Dr. Surekha ma'am also on the topic of polycystic ovarian syndrome through lens of Ayurveda. So PCOS is daily problem now. Now every second or third woman is suffering from PCOS. So
Hello.
today we are going to learn about
ठीक है.
PCOS from Dr. Surekha ma'am. Dr. Surekha ma'am is BMS as well as MD in Shalya Tantra and practicing since 10 years in teaching professional as well as she is doing surgeries also. Yeah, abdominal surgeries as well as anorectal surgeries. So she is having experience, clinical experience of 10 years also. So welcome you, ma'am, on the platform of Veda You Online, and the dais is all yours, and we are happy to hear you on the topic of polycystic ovarian syndrome. Ma'am, continue.
आपण ह्या एडिटिंग
हॅलो.
अगं तुझा आवाजच येत नाहीये.
ओके, तुम्ही बोलायला सुरुवात करा.
तुझा नाही येते.
तुम्ही सुरुवात करा, लेक्चरला सुरुवात करा तुम्ही.
ओके, ठीक आहे, चालेल. Thank you, Vedayu, for giving the opportunity to me for my presentation, Polycystic Ovarian Syndrome through lens of Ayurveda. I'm Dr. Surekha Sagre, and I'm an assistant professor in IIMS Lucknow. So straight away, we'll go for the topic. So I came to know from Dr. Sheetal Gosavi, Shraddha Gosavi, that the audience is mixed. So I'll try to, though it is a very complex disease, I'll try to simplify it as much as possible. Yeah. ये क्या होता है? So we'll start with the definition of the PCOD or polycystic ovarian syndrome or polycystic ovarian disease. Okay, so if you can see that what do you mean by PCOS? So PCOS is meant by that is the name itself suggests that it is polycystic. So there will be formation of multiple tiny cysts that you can see in this picture. The cysts are the blood sacs or fluid filled sacs in the ovary, and the syndrome is called as the polycystic ovary syndrome. Okay. So definition of PCOS is it is a disorder involving infrequent means it is not properly at the frequency. Okay, so it will be sometimes it will be very lengthy, or sometimes it will be the length between the two periods will be small. It will be irregular and prolonged menstrual periods. It is characterized, this disorder or this syndrome is characterized by infrequent, irregular or prolonged menstrual periods, acne, obesity, and excess hair growth. Why all these symptoms will appear in this disease, that will come to know in the subsequent slides. It is a disorder of chronically abnormal ovarian function. So ovary, the function of the ovary is the formation of the proper ovum after the rupture of the follicle, the ovum is formed, but in this condition, there will be the ovarian function is hampered, and because of that abnormal ovarian function, you can the patients or the females, they will be having all these problems. That is, acne is there, then irregular or prolonged menstrual period is there, and it is characterized by abnormally elevated androgen levels. Androgen levels means the male hormones such as testosterone vagera. So these testosterones, they will produce the excess hair growth. So these are the symptoms which you can see in the PCOS. Okay. So we'll go after the definition of the PCOS, that is the polycystic ovarian disease, in which many cysts are there in the ovum. We'll learn how this PCOS is detected, or how the doctors, they come to know about this disease. So in 1935, these two scientists are there. One is Stein and second is the Leventhal. So the photos are there in the slide. They described 7 women. Actually, these scientists or doctors, you can call them a scientist, though they are doctors. They found 7 women who are having bilateral, means both enlarged polycystic ovaries. So both the ovaries are enlarged, and they are having amenorrhea or irregular menses. That sometimes the menses will be there and sometimes it will be the irregular. Then the women were having the complaint of infertility and masculinizing features such as the hair growth on the body and face. So amenorrhea, irregular menses, infertility and masculinizing features were found in 7 women, and those are described by these two, Stein and Leventhal, in 1935. And from that time, from 1935, the paper was introduced by these clinicians or doctors to the concept of reproductive endocrinopathies, means the endocrine system came into picture here. So this is the history of PCOS. So if you see or if you observe incidence and complications of this PCOS, every one patient out of 10, every one girl out of 10 between the year 20 to 40, that is the reproductive age, they came with this complaint of the PCOS or polycystic ovarian syndrome. And this polycystic ovarian syndrome, obviously, as I said before, there will be some problem with the skin, such as acne, and hair growth will be there. Excess hair growth is there in some places. Abnormal hair growth is there in body and face. And then there will be some gynecological problems are there, such as the infertility will be there, menstrual dysfunction is there, and then there will be some endocrine problems such as obesity, diabetes mellitus, then coronary artery disease, that is cardiovascular disease. These 3 diseases together, because there are multiple organs, multiple systems are involved, so it is called as the syndrome. Before it, they used to call it as a PCOD, that is the polycystic ovarian disease, because of the combination of the system or systematic involvement. There you can see this is called as the PCOS. Okay. So how this PCOS manifest? So there will be the higher centers in the brain, such as hypothalamus. Okay, if the stress is there, that you can see this hypothalamus is screaming that we have 3 exams the week. So that mental stress of this hypothalamus, that will release some hormones. Those are called as the corticotropin releasing hormone. Okay, these corticotropin releasing hormones are some messengers. They directly go on the pituitary gland, that is anterior pituitary gland. And as you know, anterior pituitary gland, which is situated here, the anterior pituitary gland, it releases some hormones, or it is having 6 different parts which govern all our thyroid, then adrenal cortex and all those things. So this anterior pituitary gland, after the signals from this hypothalamus, that will produce some hormones or cortisols, which will act directly on the adrenal glands, gonads and thyroids. And these adrenal glands, again, because of the increase in the glucose, they will again act on this hypothalamus and pituitary. This VCS cycle is the starting point of this PCOS. Okay. So here you can see that from the hypothalamus, anterior pituitary is affected, and anterior pituitary gland that will act on the thyroid, adrenal cortex and gonads, and then it will form different type of the symptoms. So such that PCOS get manifested. So how the cysts are formed, okay, in the PCOS, how the cyst is formed. Normally in the normal hormones or in the ovary, there are from the birth till our menopause, so many follicles are there, and out of those follicles, each month one follicle can grow. You can see here is the first follicle, then that grows up to 10 mm, then it will go into pre-ovulatory follicle, okay, pre-ovulatory follicle, and then the ovulation takes place. So this is the normal cycle, that is the growth of the follicle from the ovary and then ovulation. But in case of the woman with PCOS, what happens when the follicle development is up to 8 mm or 9 mm, then follicular development stops, and then that follicle increase in size, and then it will because of the male hormones that will not rupture, and in that fluid get filled inside this and the cyst is formed. So this is the pathology of the cyst formation. It is mainly because of the male hormone increase in that woman, that is androgens, that is called as the testosterone. So if you go for the modern or allopathy line of treatment, they doesn't have any specific treatment for this disease. So they use these OCPs, that is oral contraceptive pills, which what they will do, these oral contraceptive pills are nothing but those are the estrogen and progesterone combination. So this estrogen progesterone combination, what it will do, it will suppress that hypothalamic pituitary ovarian axis, which I shown before, and reduces excess androgen production by the ovary. So as there will be the androgen production by the ovary, or testosterone by the ovary is got decreased, so that as the male hormone will be decreased, so the follicular rupture will take place and ovum is released. Then excessive hair growth, that is hirsutism, it is called as the word is a hirsutism, that will not take place, and this progestin from this OCP, that will inhibit endometrial proliferation. So the endometrium will not grow, and because of that the hyperplasia or overgrowth of the endometrium of the uterus will be prevented, and as there will not be hyperplasia, so risk of carcinoma is reduced because of the OCP. But OCP has many side effects, so this type of the treatment is it's not called as it can't be called as a complete treatment, okay. So in the medical management, they in the allopathic they are using this OCP, then drugs such as metformin, and they also go for the surgical treatment, such as nowadays what they are doing, they are laparoscopically opening the abdomen, and they are opening the ovary, and then they are bursting those cysts. But this is not the treatment, this is only symptomatic line of treatment. Um, uh, then in the allopathy or modern, they are having only symptomatic treatment, in that they will reduce the weight of the person, that is lifestyle modification and weight loss. These the main emphasis is given on the weight loss in PCOD and lifestyle modification. That that will be that symptom relief, that there will not be overburden on the uterus, and fat is reduced, because of that blood supply will be normalized, and so there will be restoration of the ovulatory cycles has been achieved with lifestyle modification and weight loss, that is daily exercise, then diet and nutrition is properly diet and nutrition is properly planned. Just one second. So lifestyle modification and weight loss in PCOD, it mainly emphasizes on the weight loss. Even laparoscopic or bariatric surgery, in that what they will do, they will remove all the excess fat from the body, and these are the treatments, these are the treatment modalities, some of the treatment modalities in the modern, which are not cure of the disease, okay. And non-pharmacological treatment, the same lifestyle modification, that is the diet they give to with the help of dietitian, in which the specific caloric measurement is given, exercise is given, and weight reduction. So if the patient is obese or insulin resistance, in that this may act. So if we detail study the allopathic treatment, there is no cure for PCOS according to allopathic treatment. You have to live with this PCOS, and treatment goals are based only on the symptomatic relief. So here comes Ayurveda into picture, which has which we will see in the subsequent slides. So PCOD and Ayurveda. If we talk about the PCOD, that is polycystic ovarian disease or polycystic ovarian syndrome, and Ayurveda. In Ayurveda also, as there is no direct reference of PCOD in Ayurvedic Samhitas, we have to understand the samprapti of these diseases with the help of integrated Ayurvedic principles. That is dosha, dhatu, prakriti, mala. All these we have to understand, and allopathic pathogenesis. With the help of that, we are able to understand or simplify this disease, because in Ayurvedic Samhitas we are not getting any direct reference of the PCOD, but we can correlate with the PCOD with the Vandhyatva or some Yoni Vyapadas are there, in which the Artavanasha is there or Kashtartava is there. So with that we can compare this PCOD symptom, but proper PCOD, this terminology is not there in Ayurveda. So if any disease is there, the Ayurveda, we have to if we have to describe the disease, so disease will go through the 6 stages which are told by Sushruta, that is Sanchayam, Prakopam cha Prasaram, Sthana Samshram, Vyaktam, Bhedam. These are the 6 stages of the disease. Sanchayavastha means in its own place that doshas get accumulated. Prakop is they will increase in size, and Prasar they will spread all over body. Then Vyakta is in its own place where the disease manifests, and then Bheda is the complications. So with these 6 stages, we will with these stages we can understand the disease more properly. So first stage is the Sanchayavastha. In that 2 pathways can be seen. First pathway is because of the mithya ahara vihara, and second pathway in that woman with mental stress. In both these patients we can see the PCOS or PCOD. Okay, mithya ahara vihara means if the person is not following the rules which are given for the ahara and taking a wrong type of the ahara and vihara, then that will lead to the samana vata, that may be correlated with the pancreas dushti. Okay, so pancreas will not work properly, it will work abnormally, it will become hyperactive, and this pancreas that will produce more insulin. Okay, so increase insulin production from the pancreas, and this insulin directly act on the anterior pituitary, and anterior pituitary in turn that will increase LH, that is luteinizing hormone production. So this is the pathway in the mithya ahara vihara. What happens in the woman with the mental stress? In woman with mental stress, brain higher centers, that is hypothalamus, that get activated, and as the brain higher center activated, there will be increase in the doshas in the brain, that I have correlated with the rajasa and tamasa, increase in rajasa or tamasa in mind or brain, and these rajasa or tamasa or dosha dushti, that will lead to the stimulation of anterior pituitary, and anterior pituitary obviously it will increase the LH or luteinizing hormone production. So these are the 2 pathways we can understand in case of the mental disorder, mental stress, and in case of the mithya ahara vihara. So in mithya ahara vihara, pancreas dushti and insulin increase, and then that led to the anterior pituitary and then LH, and here the higher brain centers, and that will stimulate anterior pituitary and luteinizing hormone secretion. Okay, so this is the first stage of Sanchayavastha, first stage or Sanchayavastha. The second is the Prakopavastha. Prakopavastha means what? From hypothalamus, that pituitary system get activated. So the first stage Sanchayavastha we can call it as a Pranavata, this one hyperactive. But in the second stage we can call it as a hypothalamus pituitary system. That is hypothalamus pituitary. From hypothalamus to pituitary system get activated. It will Udanavata. It increases. Means here the function can be seen as the Udanavata function, that is increased luteinizing hormone production, and these LH hormones spread throughout the body through the blood. Okay, and this the target organ of LH is reproductive system, that is ovary. So this is the Prakopavastha. Then third stage. So first is the Pranavata, then second comes in Udanavata into picture. Third stage is Prasaravastha. As luteinizing hormone is LH is increased, it will directly act on the ovaries. So ovaries become hyperactive. Here the localized ovary disorder will be there, and this can be correlated with the Apanavata Vriddhi. Okay, so in ovaries, what will happen? The normal estrogen, progesterone will not be produced, but abnormality will be there. So increased testosterone production is there. Testosterone is a male sex hormone. Okay, and though it will be there in the females, but in this condition it will be more production, and the symptoms are due to all the symptoms whatever we see in the PCOD. The main symptoms are because of this testosterone, and because this testosterone acts on the ovaries. Okay, fourth stage is compared with the Sthana Saushra. Sthana Saushra means in ovaries what will happen, as there will be increased testosterone acts on ovaries. Okay, so this testosterone and male sex hormone, what it will do, it will not allow ovaries to do its own function, that is ovulation. Okay, so ovarian follicle, remember the picture we have seen before, the ovarian follicle which was otherwise developing, okay, it was growing up to that 8 mm, that will not it doesn't get ruptured. So if it is not getting ruptured, so ovum will not come outside. So that no ovulation is because of this Sthana Saushraya or testosterone. So testosterone is the main culprit here, which will produce no ovulation, and no ovulation is if the ovulation will not be there, then obviously that follicle will not produce ovum, or follicle will not get ruptured, and ovum will not come outside. Okay, so this is the main culprit, that is testosterone, which we see in the Sthana Saushraya avastha. Then fifth avastha is called as the Vyakta avastha. Vyakta avastha means where the disease is properly manifested, that is the cyst formation is there. You have seen that unruptured follicle in that previous slide. This unruptured follicle, what it will do, it will be there, so it doesn't have any work, it increases in size, and fluid accumulation is there in that unruptured follicle, and that because of the fluid accumulation, that follicle converts into cyst. And means in such pathology, manifestation of one cyst is there. Every month, if you know the menstrual cycle, or remember the menstrual cycle, every month one follicle converts into one cyst. Okay, within a year or 6 months, many cysts accumulate in that ovary, and then many cyst is called as a polycystic. So this is a polycystic ovarian syndrome, and as these cysts are near the surface of the ovaries, so if you can see the picture of polycystic ovarian syndrome, you can see that the surface is irregular. So this is the fifth stage or Vyakta. Okay, so a picture is a worth of 1,000 words. If you see this picture on the right side, you can see that immature the follicles which are not ruptured, which increases in size, in which the fluid get accumulated, and it is near the surface of the ovary. So ovary is means elevated surfaces are seen through the ovary. So this is the polycystic ovarian syndrome. Okay. Now sixth stage or last stage. Okay, so we have seen the Sanchayavastha, Prakopavastha, Prasaravastha, then Sthana Saushraya, Vyakta, and last is the complications. So complications are very important, because there will be polycysts will be there, hormonal imbalance is there, and it will it will produce effects on whole body. Okay, everywhere these hormones will produce some or the other effect. For example, in heart they produce coronary artery disease. In pancreas they will produce hyperinsulinemia. In brain there will be depression or anxiety. Many times many patients they will call you and tell you that I'm feeling like I should cry for the small things. And in uterus the cyst will be there, pelvic pain is there, obesity will be there. So in this bheda or complication, this one you can see the effect or symptoms in every system. Okay, so this is the sixth stage or bheda. Now when I was searching for the PCOS references through the Sahitas, so in Charaka Sharirasthana, I got this shloka that Bijatma, Bija, Atma Karma, Ashaya, Ashaya, Kala Doshahi, means Ashaya Dosha and Kala. Matuhu tatha ahara vihara doshahi kurvanti dosha vividhani dushta samsthana varna indriya vikrutani, means causes of PCOD. How beautifully they have explained in the sutra, that is bija. Causes of PCOD is a bij. So many times when we study the PCOD, so in many patients there will be the bija dushti will be there, hereditary congenital factors will be there. And one of the things which I observed in my clinical practice is that many times if the patient comes to you with PCOD or PCOS, her mother period will be normal, but her what is that, from paternal side, means sister of his her father, they will be having some this bija dosha. So how it is related to the pitruja kula, that is not known, but it's like that. So you have to take the history from the paternal side also in this one bija dosha. Then atma karma means Atma karma means whatever the mithya, ahara, vihara, achara that patient is doing. Kala is the, because the reproductive kala we have seen 20 to 40 years of the age. In that you can see. Then matuhu tatha ahara vihara doshahi. If there is some dosha in ahara and vihara, kurvanti dosha vividhani. So they will increase the dosha such as vata, kapha and pitta, and they will make the dushti of the that system. And then there will be problem in the varna, that also we have seen, and there will be problem in the skin. And indriya vikrutani means there will be problem in the many organs. So these are the bija, atma karma, ashaya dushti, kala and mithyara vihara. These are the nidanas told in the Ayurvedic Sahitas for the PCOS. So the hetus is the first one I told before only, that is bija dushti or garbhashaya sthita dosha. So garbhashaya sthita dosha or bija dushti, that it may be hereditary, congenital, or maybe only that garbhashaya is a dushita, that swatantra vyadhi may be there, and mithyahara vihara or achara mithya yoga. In that mithyahara means eating food which is different from our staple diet. Means if we are living in Maharashtra and we are eating the food from the South India or North India, people generally who are migrated from one place to another place, they will continue the food habits which they used to take the food in that region, that they will continue. But that is that may produce the disease like PCOD. So eating food which is different from our staple or normal diet. Then eating processed food such as cheese, mayonnaise, that may produce the dushti, that may cause the dushti of the hormones. Then eating spicy and oily food, so they directly they will do the rakta dushti. Then anashana means many times in the obesity patients, without knowing how to deal with it, they will not eat for the longer period. And when they will be hungry, or hunger pangs are there, at that time they will eat twice or thrice the normal quantity of the food. So anashana is one of the reason which may increase vata, and that may lead to this PCOD problem. Adhyashana is one of the reason. Adhyashana is the previous food, whatever the taken by the patient, is not digested, and then if also the woman takes the food, then that is called as a adhyashana. In the mithyahara we can call it is eating food at a improper time, means nowadays the trend is like that late night people are eating food, parties will be there, then after sunset when the agni is not in the normal condition, so agni will not work at that time, so whatever the food is taken, that will not get digested and the ama is produced, and that ama may hamper the reproductive system. So this is the mithya ahara. Okay, so aveda, adhyashana, anashana, eating spicy oily food, processed food and different food staple diet that may cause the Raktadushti or Rasadushti. And as you know, the Raja or Artava is directly related to, that is, menses is directly related to the Ahara Rasa. So it may continues as a PCOD. So next is the Mithya Vihara. Mithya Vihara means what happens that when the girl attend puberty, when she will be in the 6th or 7th, after that 3-4 years, she should do regular exercise. Exercise she should play, but because of she should play outside, but because of what happens, uh, because of the studies, she has to sit or sedentary habits, she will sit for the longer period and will not do any outdoor activity. So 3-4 years immediately after menarche, so sitting over longer period, that is sedentary lifestyle and no outdoor activity, 3 to 4 years immediately after menarche, it may lead to the there will be the blood supply to the uterus get hampered, fat increases in the body, and there will be hormonal imbalances there. Then second mithya vihara is, nowadays all the girls they are using two-wheeler, and this two-wheeler driving leads to injury to the apana kshetra, that is pelvis. Okay, so because of these injuries also there will be the problem to the local organ or system. And third is vigorous gym. Vigorous gym is ati yoga, that is they are doing heavy exercises every day, so because of that also it may lead to the raktadushti. And mithya achara is the improper lifestyle, such as ratri jagran is there, then traveling long distances, this all will leads to the. Now, if you how you will come to know that patient is having PCOS or PCOD, that is nidana or clinical manifestation or diagnosis of PCOD, how it is done. So when we see the symptoms, so we can categorize the symptoms in different 4 categories. First is the local menstrual disorders, that is Artava Dushti. Okay, in Artava Dushti, you can see the oligomenorrhea. Oligo means alpa, that is less. Okay, so menses will be less or scanty. Then irregular periods will be there, that is aniyamita artava. Aniyamita artava means it is not regularly every month, the cycle is disturbed. So it will be once it will come in this month, then after 2-3 months it will come, like that. It will be irregular periods. It will be less than the normal, and it is associated with the kukshishula. Kukshishula is the person or the people will be having lower abdominal pain. So this is the menstrual this menstrual this one symptoms. Second is the many times what happened, the woman will not be knowing that she's having PCOS or PCOD, but after marriage, after 1 or 2 years, when they will not able to conceive, at that time they will come to the clinic and accidentally will come to know that the patient is having PCOS or PCOD. So infertility is whenever the patient of the fertile age, that is 20 to 40, comes to the clinic with having this difficulty to conceive for 1 or 2 years, at that time you should have that suspicion in your mind that the person may be having the complaint of this PCOS. Okay, so it may be primary infertility, or many times secondary infertility is also there in PCOS. That is, first child will be there, and after 6 or 7 years also they are not getting they are not conceiving, or conception will not be taking place. So that is the second categorization of the nidana or diagnosis. Third is the patient comes many times with the clinic with the skin or hair problem, that is kesha or twak roga. Kesha or twak roga, in kesha what is there? There will be hair fall or loss on the scalp. Okay, so where the kesha should be there the hair fall will be there, and excessive hair on the body and face. Okay, so where the body and face it is having excessive hair, and on the scalp where the hair should be there should be fall will be there. And many times patient come with the brown discoloration on the skin, so skin will be having that velvety appearance, or it will be brownish in the skin folds like groin, axilla, then neck. There you can see the brown discoloration on the skin. So patient will come with these complaints. Either it will be the menstrual complaints, that is oligomenorrhea, or this one oligomenorrhea like that. Then it may come with the complaint of infertility, or it may come with the skin or hair problems. The 1 or 2 symptoms will be there. So in case of the abnormal hair growth, you can see the pictures. There is, because of that androgen increased in these patients, or testosterone is increased, their cutaneous manifestation, cutaneous means from the skin, no, the hair will be there. That is called as androgenism. So it is called as the hirsutism. One of the scientists, Ferryman Galway, okay, they have given this one, that the excessive hair will be there in the androgen sensitive areas, such as chin will be there, then groin will be there, then you can see in the folds of the axilla it will be there, on the thighs the hair will be there. So this is called as the abnormal hair growth. So you can see the male pattern of the hair loss, that if you see here the fronto-temporo-occipital scalp, here you can see the this one male pattern hair loss will be there. There will be pattern loss of scalp terminal hairs. So this is because of the increase in the testosterone or androgenic alopecia. Now we have seen the menstrual abnormalities, hair and skin abnormalities, infertility, and fourth is the complications because of this PCOS. So because of the PCOS, in the previous slides we have seen that there will be the direct effect on the pancreas. It will increase the insulin production, and because of that this anterior pituitary get activated, and then it will act on the thyroid growth hormones. Then obesity or sthaulya will be there, and this type of the obesity which is not getting it is not decreasing at all, so that obesity will be there. Then many times there will be the CAD or coronary artery diseases there. In because of the obesity there will be hyperlipidemia, so the fat cells in the body those are increased, and these fat cells that will lead to the atherosclerosis means what happens, the because of the fatty nature of the walls in the artery, that fat get detached from these arterial walls, and then those they form the thrombus, and they will get what is it, they obstruct these arteries which supply to the heart. So that is the coronary artery disease or heart disease. So this is the one of the deadly complication of this PCOS. Then mood disorders are there because of this PCOS. Either maybe there is a chinta, that is anxiety will be there, or avsada is there, that is depression will be there. So it depends on the, if the we can call it the higher center of the brains, they will get activated because of the hormonal changes. Higher centers get activated, and because of that, if they are hyperactivated, then there will be anxiety, and if they are depressed, then the person is having the avsada or depressions, or you can say this is maniac what is it, psychotic depression, and all those things will be there in the mood disorders. Then because of the insulin production increase in the pancreas, patients will complain of the diabetes mellitus also. So diabetes mellitus is one of the commonest complaint of this PCOS if it is not treated properly. So diagnosing this PCOS is very important, because if we'll not diagnose properly this PCOS, then it may lead to the diabetes mellitus. And then hypertension is because of this obstruction of the coronary artery diseases, so that part of the heart will not get the blood supply, and heart has to pump more. So because of that, patient may have the hypertension. And one of the most deadliest complication which can lead to the death of the patient is the endometrial cancer. So all these are the complications, all these are the complications of the PCOS. So when the patient comes with all these complaints, like menstrual complaints is there, infertility is there, then there will be skin or hair problems is there, or maybe there are complications such as obesity, then coronary artery disease, then mood disorders like chinta, avasada, diabetes mellitus, hypertension, endometrial cancer. At that time, you should have suspicion in your mind that patient may be having this PCOS complaint. That patient age, if it is between 20 to 40, at that time you should have this suspicion, and you should check accordingly and then treat. Now, according to me, in PCOS, all other investigations are not that much important, but USG or ultrasonography is one of the investigation which will straight away show the picture of that polycysts in the ovary. Okay, so ovary is flooded with those cysts. So USG is one of the major investigation which is done. And second is the, if we'll check the blood for testosterone, so testosterone levels are increased in such persons. So both these investigations, we will come to know if the person is having polycystic ovarian disease or not. So these are the investigations you should advise to the patient. Now, Ayurvedic treatment. Okay, Ayurvedic treatment, as it as in the allopathy, they have told there is no cure for the PCOS, only you have to do the lifestyle modification, or you have to give or you have to give the patients that, or OCPs, or laparoscopically they are removing the fat. Those are only symptomatic treatment. Okay, but Ayurveda, as it eliminates the root cause. So nidana parivarjana means what? Whatever the reasons are there for the PCOS, whatever the reasons you will find in the patient, such as if the patient is having bija dushti, that you will come to know through the history of the family history or parents history, you will come to know. Second, so at that time you can use some rasayana drugs for that. Otherwise, if you will find, you will come to know if there will be some reasons such as mithyahara, like they are taking food abnormal at the abnormal times, they are taking, they are the food habits are very abnormal. Then maybe they are doing some intermittent, they are doing fasting for a longer time, and then eating all types of the junk food, cold drinks, and heavy foods. So or the mithya vihara history is there. So all these history should be taken properly. And then nidana parivarjana is the biggest treatment in the PCOD. So if you will come to know what are the causes, first of all you have to tell the patient to do the nidana parivarjana, or the person should avoid all these things. So there will be the half treatment, it will be done here. Now, if the santarpanottha hetus means what? The hetus which will increase the weight of the patient. 70 to 80% of the PCOD patient, they will be having this santarpanottha hetus. Santarpanottha hetus means eating heavy food, junk food, then untimely food they are taking in, they are at the improper time after sunset, when the Agni is weak. At that time they are indulging in the food habits. So in that santarpana hetus and sthaulya or obesity, one of the panchakarma which gave results, that is a vamana or lagu amana you should give to the patient. So because of that, whatever doshas are accumulated in the ura bhaga or upper side of the body, that will get that will go outside, and that kapha dushti will reduce, and because of that the cyst formation will be reduced. So santarpanottha hetus are sthaulya. In those patients, you can go for the vamana or laghu vamana. Then udvartana means what? Udvartana means we will use the churnas of the some plants which will reduce the churna, the mardana or massage with those churnas, that is having very good results in PCOS. Then some type of the bastis such as lekhana bastis, which we use also in sthulata or sthaulya patient with gomutra, trifala kwatha, sajjikshara, that can be one of the treatment. And to reduce the vata, sahachara tela matra basti. Okay, sahachara is one of the best vatahara drug, and tela, as you know, tela is the opposite of the vata, so drukshata of the vata is reduced. So sahachara tela matra basti, that can help in treating the diseases. Okay. Now abhyantara chikitsa depends on the how much disease is progressed, or up to which organs or which system it has percolated. So if the rasadhatu dushti is there, so there will be the problem with the artavas or menses. Okay, so in that we can use rasapachaka. Then medohara drugs are rasapachaka is used in if the person is thula and santarpanotta hetus are there, then medohara drugs like trifala, musta, vidanga, sariva, kirata tikta with honey. In the apanakala, again and again you have to give for leaking. Then we can use this Chandraprabhavati, Kuberakshavati, Kaishora Gugula, Kanchanar Gugulu according to the Prakriti and Avastha of the disease, because in each patient there the samprapti will be different, nidana will be different. So you have to use according to the avastha and prakriti of the patient. And if the patient will be having excess hair growth, that is loma vruddhi, that is treated with the rasapachaka or haridra churna with oil is given, and then that is applied there. So this can be done in the abhyantara chikitsa. And one of the most important chikitsa or treatment in the PCOS is the Vyayama chikitsa, that is the exercise. Okay, it has given means in many patients whoever has done. Just 1 second. Chikitsa or exercise. Okay, so in exercise you have to in exercise. Hi. So in exercise, okay, 5 kilometer or more walk every day, whichever will induce sweating or lightness in the body, angalaghago, that is that if you advise to the patient, so because of that the blood supply to the reproductive organs will be normal, blood supply to the hypothalamus pituitary axis will be normal, so it will give good results. Then Surya Namaskara, starting from the 12 up to 30, it has given very nice results, but if the patient will be having adhodara shoulder or pelvic pain or lower abdomen, they will not be able to do that much Surya Namaskara. So we have to do accordingly. Then if the adhodara shula is there, then aerobics or classical dance for 45 minutes is advised. And gym is generally contraindicated in PCOS because due to AC, that sweat will not come, and because of that doshas get accumulated in the body, rakta dushti will be there. And even the dietitians who are in the gym, they will prescribe proteins and heavy diet or tofu, which will be which will deplete the agni because it is heavy for digestion. Okay, so this is advice. And last but not least is the ashwasan chikitsa. As you know that PCOS is very complicated, and it's real means reducing weight in the PCOS is very difficult. The patients get depressed many times. So regular counseling and then ashwasana in these patients will give you the proper or good results. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for such a nice lecture. And one question is there: why obesity occurs in PCOS? From Chandani.
Acha. Chandani, you are from medical background?
I think yes, she is student.
Acha. Okay, Chandani, I told this before also that there will be what is that? When the hypothalamus pituitary, that axis you have seen no in that picture, in that hypothalamus that will release that corticotropin hormones, and that will releasing hormone that will work on this anterior pituitary. Anterior pituitary will we will release some what is that, some hormones such as ACTH vagara on the adrenal cortex. So adrenal cortex that will because of these cortisols, adrenal cortex that will release some glucose, and that glucose get accumulated in the body. So because of that, and another reason is the stimulation of pancreas that will increase the insulin in the body. Okay, so that insulinemia, both these leads to the obesity of the patients.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. And this seventh day of Navratri is dedicated to Ma Kalaratri. And one small story behind this, that today Ma Kalaratri vanished the demon called Raktabij. So I think this is the correlation between PCOS, Raktabij, Bij is there. So today we learn how to kill the demon named PCOS. So thank you very much for the nice information. And today Ma worship with destroying the ignorance and removing darkness from the universe. So you remove the darkness regarding PCOS. So once again, we would like to hear again and again from you with new topics also. And thank you, listeners, for patience listening, and all the people are giving nice comment, that very nice and informative lecture. For such a nice session, you give a different altogether approach to look towards PCOS. So we will definitely include all these curative measures, treatment measures in our day-to-day life to cure this disease. So thank you very much, ma'am, from the Vedayu online platform. And tomorrow, once again, we will meet at the same time with a new Durga, new topic, Dr. Meenakshi Bagil for CA breast. So thank you very much, and we'll meet together once again tomorrow.
Thank you, Shraddha. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Vedayu, for giving this opportunity to me. And last but not least, thank you all listeners who have patiently listened all this. Actually, it's 1 hour. It's really difficult for me to sit and listen, but you all are really good listeners. Okay, thank you all. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Okay. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye. Have a nice evening and happy Navratri to all.
Same to you, people.